All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Erikan. It's nice to meet you all and be with you all. I have one request. Can we bring it in? If you don't mind, I would love to create some sense of connection in this particular talk because at Audacity, we're really, really excited about how culture and our expression of culture as people across the world are going to be the scaling factor, market-making, global distribution, 8 billionth person receiving strategy for cryptocurrency. We heard just with the last panel talking about how institutions are adopting this technology and a little bit behind, but eventually bullish on adopting this technology. What does it mean when our cultural expression, the way we gather in communities around the world, how does that become a way that this technology scales to the masses around the world? So I wanted to take this time to essentially have a conversation with you all about emerging markets and adoption trends that we're seeing in the world right now. So if you all didn't know this, some of the fastest growing crypto markets around the world are actually based out of Southeast Asia and Africa. So Vietnam, the Philippines, India, Pakistan, Kenya, Nigeria. Those are some of the fastest growing markets across the world right now. Bitcoin adoption is the #1 in the world in Nigeria. And obviously we know about the amazing impact of play to earn across Southeast Asia. And in Latin America, adoption for cryptocurrency is based on hedging against inflation. These are realities that are very, very, very different from the privilege that we're sitting here in Spain and the ability for us to be degens in yield farming. It's a very different use case and demand for this technology in different parts of the world. And Audacity is excited to be an investor, to be a venture firm and long-term and asset management firm that manages the assets of the emerging fastest growing parts of the world, because we recognize that there's going to be a cultural nuance and an understanding of societies in these parts of the world that will be essential towards identifying alpha. And that level of intelligence and understanding of the global majority population must only be experienced by living there. And so I come to you as the founder and managing partner of Audacity. It is a Web3 and Metaverse global solutions firm that invests and builds companies that are building for the masses across the world. And we started in June, and since last June, we've made 10 investments that apply across the fastest growing crypto markets in the world. And what we're seeing there, I wanted to be able to share some of the insights that we're seeing there as a result of this. And anybody ever been to Africa? Anybody here? Yeah? All right. I honestly want to hear, where are some of the countries you all went to? Can you say their names? Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Morocco, Egypt, Algeria. Okay, you all have traveled. This is awesome. All right, so with Africa and these different places you all have probably been, when you went there within the last 5 or 7 years, what was your telephone experience? Did you just turn on your cell phone service where you exist? What were some of the things you had to do in order to call people? SIM cards? Talk time? Yes, buying talk time, buying the card. Exactly, you guys got it. And what types of phones did you notice that people had? Like the regular people? Nokias? Nokias. Do you know what he means when he says Nokias? Like the feature phones where the button, you have to press the button like that. So, oh hey, oh I know you. You have a very familiar face. Hi, I'm Erikan. Nice to meet you. Okay, anywho, so as you know, when you go to these parts of the world, the infrastructure is completely different. And really, those types of environments that we just talked about are where the majority of the entire global population exist. That same experience that you all had in those places you went to in Africa, where in order to make a phone call, you had to get airtime, that also applies to Brazil. and it also applies to several other parts of the world. So by investing in companies like PhoneBank, one of Audacity's portfolio companies, they are essentially helping everybody that has a feature phone, the Nokias, and loads airtime on their phone. They're enabling every person to turn that airtime, that mobile talk time, into crypto. And that is an important on-ramp for frankly, the base of the global economic pyramid, because the way that those people will come into crypto today, instead of 10 years from now, is by having DeFi infrastructure that goes all the way down to the most common variable of a person and their technology experience, which is their SIM card and their mobile money. And so this is a different way of thinking about Web3, blockchain, and infrastructure, because we are so privileged to have, everybody probably has their smartphone, a lot of you are on them, and you've probably got 2 in your whole backpack. Most people around the world don't have that same infrastructure, and we wanted to invest in those things. So talk to me about Asia. Where have we been in Asia? Thailand, China, Philippines, Vietnam. Amazing. Okay, so we know then that these markets are also the fastest growing, Vietnam in particular, and especially the Philippines. And why have these markets become fast adopting of this technology? Well, because the Sky Mavis team created Axie Infinity and other games that have since emerged since that enabled people to earn an income, the ability to live their lives by playing games. This is an opportunity where people don't have to work in stressful labor environments and can instead play games to earn a surplus of necessary income. This is solving a real need for people, but it's attached to games. That's an acknowledgement that culture is actually the greatest on-ramp of the masses around the world into crypto, because it makes sense. You play games, you listen to music, you laugh with your friends, you watch films, you're entertained. That entire experience that every single human on this planet experiences and enjoys should be the way that you subconsciously or unconsciously acquire wealth, access, opportunities, and income by simply living on the internet. And this is an important, I think, value proposition of blockchain and Web3, is because in past generations of the internet, that's Web 1.0 and Web 2.0, we were not able to have true ownership of our intellectual property across digital platforms. And now we can. So that means every single person, anywhere, everywhere around the world can control their destiny by knowing that the strength of what they do, the lucrative nature of what they do, the economic injections of what they do by token offerings and large communities across the world that believe, those people are essentially going to create roadmaps for how to build wealth across different parts of the world. And understanding that infrastructure is going to be best acquired through cultural information and cultural intelligence. And so as we talk about DeFi, I get so excited about us talking about DeFi. Any DGens in the house? Okay, is anyone comfortable throwing out their craziest APY for yield farming? Just throw out 1,000, 10,000, some of the degens. Infinity! It was crazy in November if anybody was yield farming. It was an interesting time. Anyhow, why wouldn't somebody who works in a market or who is a truck driver not get access to yield farming? The ability to boost essentially a protocol's efficiency and empower the blockchain. Why would we prevent people who don't have advanced computers to gain access to the things that we're enjoying by believing in Avalanche? So we think at Audacity that's really meaningful to find different ways for the technology that we're all building right now and excited to learn about is deeply woven into global culture, because that's going to be the way that we get so much value out of this technology, given the need that it has in different parts of the world. But on top of that, we truly can pursue a real world of decentralization by getting to the masses sooner rather than later. So I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity, and I wanted to just open the space for Q&A. Like, what questions do we have about this technology in different parts of the world? And I'm game to invite some people up to talk about some of their experiences, and we can dive deeper on what emerging markets really look like. So does anyone have any questions about how this technology applies in different parts of the world? Yeah.
Maybe this might be better. So I guess what would you say is the difference culturally in the perspective inside these developing regions about what even these cryptocurrency networks are building? Because we know that they want the value creation that's being made, right? We talk about play to earn axes. But do they actually, like, what part of understanding do they just need to know the number at the end? Or do they have to be inserted into the culture of what we're creating, basically?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I would say ultimately, if you're thinking about expanding, say in the gaming space, in a place like Nigeria, a few details to give you context. Nigeria is the largest African country in the world, and it is one of the greatest producers of oil. And so it is a very rich and resourceful place, and people there are hungry. They're hungry to get at life. They're hungry to do a lot of things. So if they find a gaming platform that enables them to have fun as young kids and make money in the process, their brains are going to be activated, because they're in our culture. I am Nigerian. In our culture, we go for our dreams. We haul ass, y'all. we care. We're very passionate people. And so as a result, we'll learn how to essentially become degens in the gaming world, because we want to figure out how to flip our play to earn money, our gaming money, our entertainment money, our culture money. And so we're going to see an interesting, I think, and this hopefully helps people as they integrate in emerging parts of the world. I think we'll see people who never would have ever had sight to be doing a 10,000% APY or APR type of experience because they're in poverty, then become, after playing games and let's say having $2,000 in their wallet, they can learn how to flip that in different areas of crypto and become like in a different class bracket, if you will, in different parts of the world. So building that stack of technology that enables that to happen wherever these people are around the world is going to be important for how we think about certain markets. Cool. Awesome. Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, I'm going to take the lady in the back. Hi. Can you say your name and ask your question?
Sure, my name is Park. I'm from Figment Networks. My question is, how do you feel about the ethical implications of getting people into play-to-earn models instead of getting them to build skills through the activation of other forms of potential that they could be moving through in order to earn their cryptocurrencies and be a part of yield farming? If you get someone into a yield model where they're just playing a game, right? Aren't you really just perpetuating the system rather than getting them to grow their potential?
I'm saying I'm saying that layer will happen as a byproduct of people coming on economic opportunities. When you have no money for a long time and you do something and you get money, you either do two things. You wreck the money because you don't know how to have money, or you say to yourself, I'm going to use this money to really invest in myself and change my circumstances. And as a Nigerian and African woman, I know that when my community gets even one NFT or any value from a game, they're going to turn that money into their life changing forever. And that's because I just know my people. And so ethically, I know that people don't have income in most parts of the world. If this game is a stepping stone for people to buy homes, get shelter, be properly fed, then we don't need to design for that. People will make decisions that they need to make for themselves to be the best humans. So I'm with you, though. I feel you on the ethical question. One last question. Any other questions? You? Okay. Hi. Can you say your name and your question?
I'm Charles, and I think that the unbanked is something that we haven't really spoken about. How are you addressing that? And it's a really difficult question to sort of tackle, but
Okay. Thank you for that question. You all may or may not know, but the majority of Africa and other parts of the world are completely unbanked or underbanked. That means for the majority of folks, they do not go into a retail bank and have cards, and they predominantly operate based on cash, and likely for two reasons. The regulatory landscape for these parts of the world are still adopting technology altogether, and there's a lack of trust of banks in these parts of the world. And so that's just the context on why we have so many unbanked people in sort of the global south and parts of Africa and Latin America. But the way that I see Web3 being an amazing component there is that everyone essentially instead doesn't have like a credit card or a bank relationship, but they've always had wallets. And they've always had wallets because a company called M-Pesa in Kenya created a way for people to text each other money. And this was actually one of the founding innovations that inspired Venmo and many other American-based mobile payments technologies. So that inspiration came from the use case in Kenya where people had to send to each other money between one another on their feature phones. That is the culture and the technology of how this world works, such that we don't actually need to be banked. So emerging markets are best positioned for this technology because they don't have the same relationship with traditional finance that we do. So they can go straight into having a crypto wallet. It has their assets. It has the ability to send to a friend, send to a friend, send to a company, send to a this. They're already used to that. And so I get excited about this technology with the massive underbanked and unbanked people across the world because it is truly peer-to-peer in how they relate with all things in technology integrated. So it'll be a more natural transition. So yeah, thank you for that question. All right, everybody, I appreciate your time. If you want to stay up to date on Audacity, we have our details there. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.